Pisces.
Now we're going to be looking at your solar chart for the full year of 2013 in your star sign. And basically what we're going to do today is take Mars, where it currently is now in January, and follow its motion and to see where it kind of ends up at the end of the year. What this will do will help to jumpstart you, knowing where Mars is, where you can hone in on the best energy available to you, which Mars is all about, and which arena of life is affecting you, so you can take that action and start building and see what you can accomplish there by the end of 2013. Also, we're going to look a little bit at Jupiter. I'm not going to give too much attention to it. It's only going to change a sign here throughout the year. And besides, we're going to be covering that on a monthly basis on your monthly tubes anyhow. But most interestingly is the big challenge we're all facing with that Uranus-Pluto. We all have it in our charts. We all have it in different parts of our charts. So I want to kind of scope out to you on your specific star sign to see where it's sitting, where Uranus is sitting, and where it's going to be hitting Pluto, and what your specific challenge is going to be. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. And challenges are always a big punch, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing. See, when we know what it's about, we drop fear. We only fear what we don't know, and this is when we turn all rigid and we kind of scramble to kind of hang on to old security, and where we freeze. See, it's like if we take another image and think about somebody who's drowning. What's the difference between somebody drowning and somebody coming in by free will, coming in and saving that person? What's the difference between the victim and the hero? The hero is in the same waters, same waves, and yet feel very, very comfortable and secure. It's because he's forewarned and forearmed. And this is what I want to give you, because these challenges will give a punch to all of us, no matter where we are. But when we know which area of our life it's going to affect, then we can look at what can we do about it. How can we actually stay a step ahead and take the challenge and rise it? See, because not all challenges have to be a bad thing. Sometimes they come around with radical changes so that we, in a very quick way, can change direction. And sometimes it will just prompt us and throw us straight onto our life purpose. And this is how I want you to look at it. What good can you get out of the challenges in the sky year of 2013? Hello Pisces, and a happy 2013. We're going to be looking at your forecast and what you can expect out of the major trends for you this year. And I want to start out with Mars cycles, because Mars is where we direct and point our energy, our drive, and our ambitions. And it's what really gets us going here through life. And it's good to know where it is and how you can follow it, only due to the fact that Mars takes 2 years around your chart. This year it's going to be passing through 8 sections of your chart. So it's not going to touch all areas. So instead of scattering your energy all over the place, you have a few weeks of time to kind of really hone in and make this work for you at the best possible level. And for you, you're starting out here January with leisure time in many ways. Mars is going to be transiting the 12th house. So it's like up to this point, you worked so hard, just this last part of the year from, I'd probably say September 2012 onwards, so that when you come into January, you're going to allow yourself just to rest, you know, find your zen, allow things to percolate and be in a little bit of a dream time, because you're going to be so up and running come February, when you're going to come out with a big punch. And the world will see not only it's how you're going to be expressing yourself outwardly to the world, but it's also how the world is going to perceive you with this new energy and whatever you've been working on here on the latter part of 2012. So I see you being really, really busy. there February, after a wonderful time of joy there at January. And you will be focusing also, I'd say, on something, looks like it's connecting to your hopes, dreams, visions, because it's touching Neptune. And Neptune is your ideal. What is it you really want, Pisces? You know, this is where Mars is telling you now is the time to shoot your goals there and trust it. And you know, Neptune's going to be in your sign for many years now. Mars is initiating that contact with it. So I think you're going to start very early in the year on presenting yourself outwards to the world at large in a new way. Then it's going to be followed on your finances and how this is going to bring in your day-to-day income, month-to-month income. Not as much other people's money or settlements or that kind of thing, but actually what you can look at as your livelihood. March is going to be an interesting month for you. It can be quite shocking in a good way. You have Uranus there, and Mars is going to meet up with Uranus, and so unexpected avenues may just open up a floodgate, and you might get wowed by what's happening here. Okay, so that can be on the good note. For others, depending on your birth or your natal chart, this Uranian Mars energy can present something else, like something unexpected, where you might see something drop out instead of coming in. So it can work both ways. But the transit in itself there through Mars is showing you a potential and opening up these gateways, and it's only the beginning. Okay, so that's moving you into how you're going to be communicating when Mars goes through your third house. And we're kind of looking at April, May, where you're going to be busy perhaps. There's a lot of shorter trips and you'll be on the move. You may be visiting a whole lot more, or people may be visiting you. It might be a good time to do interviews because it is communication, and Mercury communicates really well, and when Mars is there, you're putting this focus and this oomph behind it. You might see that anything with siblings might be more important to you there in springtime, and you might be able to spend time with them if you haven't been, or if you're living apart, not afar, you might be able to join up. Coming into here summertime, I'd probably say like June, beginning of June, you'll see how you're going to be wanting to expand more of your home and home environment. Some of you might be moving, looking for larger space, wanting to or needing to have larger space. Jupiter in this area is the best time, in fact, to invest in a new home. You'll have it visit there every 12 years, so you know it is time perhaps. But Mars also looks to repairs, so there might be things around the house here in June that you might want to look into. Mars and Jupiter both will be moving into your fifth house of joy and recreation, hobbies, love, here in July. So this will open up new doors in that respect. Some of you Pisces will be meeting new love in these summer months. And children, some of you might become pregnant here in July, August, or you might have news that you'll be a grandparent here late summer. Moving right along, Mars will then hone in on how you work and who you work with, co-workers. When things are smooth and you're receiving other good aspects to it, which we will have to look at when we get there, then Mars is good. It's very goal-oriented in refining your strategies and working over schedules again. If things are a little slow with people around you, Mars can get a little antsy, maybe even a little, not annoyed, but it can get so ahead of itself, over assertive perhaps. So you don't want to create any tensions there but try to get the rest of the group with you as far as in the co-worker field. Coming up towards the end of the year, there's September, October, coming into November, it's love and relationships, partnerships, marriage, your spouse or your significant other, and Mars being wanting to balance what needs to be balanced, or where you haven't had time to share too much time because you've had a really busy year, Pisces. You started off with a big bang here, so it's time to catch up there and listen to your partner, you know, and be more assertive and more attentive, perhaps. And if it's a business venture, it's going to be dynamic in the sense of really looking at how you can improve things, okay? So end of the year is all about laying the conditions for 2014, which is going to be super important because you're going to start off already quite early in 2014 with expanding, moving things out into the world at large. So it's a good time to get whatever research and important insights all together, and not to mention funds. There's something about funding at the end here of 2013. Maybe applying for loans or some of that sort, so you can be ready to launch your projects there in 2014. So let's look at your challenge, okay? We spoke initially a little bit about this Pluto Uranus square this year. And for you Pisces, it's going to be between your 11th and your 2nd house, meaning anything from networks, social networks, groups, friends, people who are in the wires, so to speak. This is where some of your growth is coming from, where Pluto wants to transform you. And you're coming across with new energy, new power. Ever since Pluto moved into Capricorn, in your 11th house, you've been coming across stronger and wanting to assimilate messages in a larger way, should I say. Not necessarily on a one-to-one basis, but out to the groups. So this is where the center of this power lays with you, and how it's also going to be affecting your income. Uranus is in the 2nd house, so the two of them, they can do two things, because all planets have higher and lower aspects and vibrations, and we always want to try to rise to the higher for things to work out best. This means, Pisces, and you always do, because you are such a humanitarian by nature and such a giver by nature, looking out for others and sacrificing your own needs. These two planets are always requiring, in fact, that you do come from what is good for, or the higher good for everybody else around you. When you do that, you won't really have such a crunch. If you have been too focused on other issues or self or whatnot, you might see that Uranus is going to knock you off your feet. Or maybe you've been in a job that really isn't you. If you feel that you might be laid off, or something is shutting down, or some income that you have relied on suddenly is gone, well, you know what? It's a blessing in disguise. So after the shock, you'll understand that what it's doing is forcing you to look into other aspects of work where you're better suited, where your talents can come out. You know, so if you feel that your finances are going to change for the worse at first, see it as a blessing. And I know that's hard to do, but as soon as you open up, as soon as you accept it and not resist it, and you embrace it, this is when the door is going to open up, and you're going to go, wow, this is what I'm going to do. And you'll see that this was happening for a reason, and you will thank it in times to come. Your key is probably to look at where you can use your talents and get it out to groups, okay? However you're going to do that, but this is going to be your best shot at getting things onto this new platform. But you know, Uranus is going to be here for a few years. Pluto's going to be there for a few years. This is pretty much happening to those of you born within that first week of Pisces. and coming up to around the 7th there, and then things are going to start activating for you other Pisces. So it's not all of you now. Some of you might not get it before 2014, 2015, 2016, but this is especially for those of you early in the sign. So listen to your moon signs, listen to your rising signs. You'll get more information and details that way. And of course, throughout the monthly scopes, we'll get more information on the transits and how they will be affecting these planets for better or worse, when you can expect great news and when to lay low. But until then, thank you for listening, and see you next time.